Alrighty, I just turned my sound up back on. Blah, blah, blah. Hey guys, welcome. So we're gonna start with James attacking Suleiman, aka Tiki Gray. Let me see, I don't remember from the matchups. James is from Boartown, leader of Boartown. That's right. And Suleiman, aka Tiki Gray, is in my owl tribe. So let's just hop right in. All right. Oh, and they're switched, so I'm gonna have to. So James is the one attacking, but Suleiman's gonna have the attacker logo because he started on the left. And James is red. Alright. So yeah, don't be confused by the logos there. James is the attacker in this match. But anyway, let's have a look around here now that I've got the scoreboard in order. Really balanced map here. Both players have got pretty much mirrored mills. There's this whole south side of the map that is not quite inaccessible. There is a little path you can get through in there, but there's nothing to see. You wander around, look for a ninja mill, and there's nothing there. And then there's this north mill that pretty much equal for both players. Maybe a little easier for Suleiman to access. So Tiki, I should call him Tiki because he's Tiki on here. Tiki's bringing squirrels, falcons, skunks, snake, owl, and turret. While James has got squirrels, toads, falcon, chameleon, boar, and balloon. So, interesting matchup here. Excited to see what happens. I say this every time, but I love it. I love watching experienced players with toads. Just like to see that unit get played. But regardless, we are moving along here. James is going for an earlier expansion than Tiki, whereas Tiki is going for some earlier tech. So Tiki with the skunks, and James right now going pure squirrel. So gonna be good for him. Be good for Tiki a direct engage right now. Skunks should do well. Not right now. The skunks will do well against the squirrels. But we'll see how James responds once he sees that come out. For now, James is going to be a bit ahead in economy. Get his farms up sooner. And what does Tiki want to do? Get a little bit more tier 1. And James throwing down some defense here with this balloon. And Tiki sees that, thinks maybe he's got a little bit of time to farm up, so he's throwing down some farms and just poking around here. He wants to get some skunk gas down, see what he can get done. Loses one skunk. It does clean up all those squirrels. Overall, I guess I was going to say even trade, a little bit better trade for Tiki because James started out with a little bit more army value. But James there's no damage done to this balloon. This is still up, so that's still going to be a threat for Tiki. And James starting to work into these toads. They hadn't come out in time for that last engagement. But we'll see. If he gets good toad connections, toads could be devastating. Tiki getting some snakes in. Snakes are great for poking buildings down and among other things. Although with a balloon, it's got the range, it might be hard for the snakes to get in and get ahead. Let's see. Tiki's throwing on a few extra farms. So economy's been more or less even. James got farm out for a bit earlier than Tiki did, but then Tiki's had a little bit of farm advantage too. Overall, pretty even on economy. And James is going into Chameleons now. Got 2 Chameleon Warrens. And I missed Tiki's second Skunk Warren. Gonna get a lot of skunk gas out. And Tiki wants to claim this little spot up here, get some turret support for any engagements in this hill. We're just starting to macro up, and as I say that, Tiki comes in for an engage, wants to get some poking done with these snakes. Getting a lot of skunk gas down. Overall, a really good trade there from Tiki. He did lose some units fighting in that balloon, but did well overall in the trading. So we'll see what James can do to respond. He's got his owls up. And just now James is taking the 3rd mill. Tiki's already got 3 farms down on the 3rd mill. More falcons. And here it is. The boar coming down for James. And Tiki's been doing a lot of poking, but I don't think he's seen this boar, and I don't know if he will see it. But if he takes good trades, he can probably force a sell on it. Oh, and he gets snake tags on the balloon. Really good timing push in here from Tiki. He's gonna be able to retreat behind this turret. Yeah, look at that trade there. Very good value from Tiki. And he's got the economy lead behind it. So yes, James did have to come back and sell that boar. And I think this might just be too much. Some really, really clever play here from Tiki. Taking some good engagements. Does have to be careful. Loses quite a lot in this, as I say that. James gets a really good exchange, and now James with a strong army lead. Tiki may have pushed too far. So yeah, maybe a little overextension from Tiki, but he's able to hold off. And with his economy lead, I think Tiki's still in the driver's seat here. But that last engage definitely evened the match out a bit. But it's just too much, and James taps. (1-0) for Tiki. And let's move into round 2. So we've got a big deck switch from James. James bringing lizards this game, squirrels, lizards, pigeons, and then falcons, skunk, and boar. Well, Tiki, I think this is the same deck from Tiki. So no chameleons this game from either player. And looks like James can go for some early lizards. Let's see how Tiki scouts this and responds. One lizard is out, or well, not out, is building. So Tiki sells off 1 farm. He's gonna have 1 farm lead, but he's gonna Tiki might lose a pig in this initial engage if James gets in here fast enough. But it looks like James is going to hang back for now. Waiting, yeah. Gonna move in with 3 lizards. Oh, he's got 4 now. Tiki does have 2 squirrels up. And it's enough to hold it off. So, good play there from Tiki. Gets a bit of an economy advantage there. And doesn't lose a pig. Both players now going up for 3 warrens. Tiki's got the 3 squirrel warrens, while James has got 2 lizards and a squirrel. What's Tiki doing over there? Okay. With the lizards on the map, Tiki just doesn't want to risk any run around, I guess. While James goes straight into an expansion. Also taking out this cabin to open up this runaround lane. See if he scouts this turret before running his lizards into it. Does look like he wants to come around the backside there. Yeah, he must have scouted that turret. Something spooked him. He's going back home. Build skunks. Both players opening with skunks. They're going to be a little stronger against Tiki than they are against James, I think, just because Tiki's only got squirrels. So they'll all be clumped up. But Tiki does get his out a little sooner. Thought he might have been thinking about pushing, but he's just going to take this mill. Starty going up, as James has already got a farm down, so he'll have a little bit of an economy lead from that early farm. While he also techs into a second skunk warren. And Tiki doing the same. So players matching each other pretty closely so far in this game. Oh, and snakes coming down too from Tiki. And here's gonna come our first little skirmish. And James decides to go back home. And Tiki gradually selling off all these, or not all, but selling off squirrels to tech up into tier 2. Already got snakes. One snake's about to come out, and now getting some falcons. When he sells out almost all the squirrels now, he's sold out of. Gonna defend this position with a few turrets. And this is going to be a great spot for Tiki. If he can hold this position, he can essentially wait it out, because he can defend this mill really easily. These 2 mills over on the east side are going to be tough for James, so if Tiki wants to, he can try and play the starvation game here. James is thinking about moving in. He's got a little bit of a window while Tiki's teching up. Might be able to get something done. But these turrets doing just enough to ward him off. Make him think twice. And he does go home, sell out of one of his skunks, one of his skunk warrens. Taking into more falcons. He sees there's almost no tier 1 on the field from Tiki. Knows he's pretty safe taking up. Those skunks don't get nearly as much value. So both players, looks like they're just trying to find the best way to counter the other, but neither really feels like they've got it yet. Neither one's confident enough to move in. And how are we overall compositions? We got a few similar units. So Tiki's got 6 tier 1, James 20, oh not 21, 27 tier 1 when we count the pigeons. James does have more falcons too, but now here's the engage. James moving in, takes down the turrets pretty quickly, gets a couple of pigs, and doesn't have a huge army loss for it. Yeah, nice trade there from James. And it looks like he's found a good army comp to counter what Tiki's bringing. Got a big Falcon advantage, which is making the difference in bursting down these tier 2 units. Looks like he's going to come back around this other side. Tiki's ready for that, but is a bit behind in army. I think this could snowball. James' commander went down, I believe, so Tiki's doing a good job cleaning this up behind that. Yeah, you can see initially we were getting some good trades for James. And good enough trades, even after cleaning up on the retreat. Tiki taps out. And we move into round 3. What's different here? Tiki swapped his turret for chameleons, and James is bringing the same deck. So in terms of the map, it's really going to be an awkward map, I feel like, for either player to take a third mill. Both players have really easy access to a second mill. It's also a pretty long rush distance to get to the other player. There's also this cabin in the way, so I don't think we're gonna see the early lizard push from James this game. But we'll see what happens. If I was going to look into my crystal ball, certainly I think a macro game would favor James, because he can, if he does expand to a third mill, he's also got a fourth right there. Whereas Tiki really only has this one. Both players almost simultaneously, I think, yeah. Neither one building any tier 1 units. They both see how hard it's going to be to attack early game and go right into an expansion. Although as I say that, James does throw down a couple of lizard warrens before putting any farms down, while Tiki got one squirrel warren and then farm. So some slight different initial game strategies. But I don't think James, yeah, James selling off one of those lizard warrens to farm up. But he did enough. If he was trying to spook Tiki, he did enough. Tiki throws down 3 squirrel warrens. And that's going to set him a little bit behind in economy. But he does come in here and see what's up. Now he's going to go scout around the map a little bit. And getting some skunks. Yeah, I do think skunks are going to be really good on this map because you've got pretty narrow chokes. You can either come up this hill just a little bit wider, or come through this narrow passageway with water. Attacking through this would be devastating against skunks. But James agreed. Going all the way up to 8 farms, fully saturating that second base. And Tiki responds in kind. So how are their armies shaping up here? Pretty even, except James has 6 lizards, 6 squirrels, while Tiki has all squirrels, but both players supplementing their tier 1 armies with skunks. And here comes an early boar from James. And James does come out here and expand. So I was wrong about the third mills. Both players going right into 3 mills. And I do think that map style, that game style, is gonna favor James on this map. Yeah, it's still early, but I'm liking this for James so far. Has Tiki... Oh, Tiki does come in now. I do believe Tiki scouted that boar, yeah. So we'll see what he's doing about it. Falcons are going to be his answer. He's getting a few more chameleons and building up his falcons. But the boar is about, what, 30 seconds out? Less? So the boar will be hitting the map soon. And James is going to be supporting it with 6 falcons, so that'll be even. 6 falcons versus 6 falcons. Oh, now 8. So James will have a slight falcon edge. Both are bringing 4 skunks. James has more tier 1. So it'll really be 4 chameleons versus the boar. Be the unit comp difference. Let's see what our army values are at. Pretty even. James with a slight army lead. And the boar is out. Both players throwing down some farms on their 3rd mill. And James going way up in falcons. 12 falcons for James. Oh, Tiki with a sneaky falcon play here. I like this. Flying the falcons over the terrain. Got 1 farm for it. Wasn't able to take down the mill before James responds. But he's coming back. Might be able to burst that mill down. Not quite. And yeah, Tiki certainly lost more than James did in that exchange, but he is coming back, and he might be able to take this mill. Just the threat of that is definitely spooking James, but he's getting great range. That the skunk gas, the boar. Really fun play here from Tiki, but James, meanwhile, has just gone ahead and built this mill behind and thrown down a bunch of farms on it. So Tiki's been losing a bit of army trying to poke this mill down, and if he gets the mill down, maybe it'll have been worth it, but for now, it's been tough sledding. James now's leaving the boar up here. Trying to ward off some of this poke. And this poking is getting expensive for Tiki to do this. Every time he's losing a couple of falcons. Looks like just didn't have enough to burst that down. And now he's gotta think about what's coming next. James does have his army back. He's got a lot of lizards, so he runs in quickly. Tiki might be able to get 1 or 2 pokes in and pull back, but he's trying to get these falcons up. Both players going up to 16 falcons. But James has had enough. He's moving in. Or is he? Guess not. So here comes this big engage. Boar goes down, but James has so many Falcons behind this. And that's it. That's all she wrote. 2-1 for James. Yeah, it was 1-1. Now it's 2-1. That was James' second win. So we come into round 4. See if Tiki can bounce back. He started strong with 1-0, but this deck switch has been what James needed with Squirrel, Lizard, Pigeon, Falcon, Skunk, and Boar. Really, it's been the Falcons and the Boars. James has been really good. He builds the Skunks early, and then once he sees Tiki still out of tier 1, he swaps hard into the Falcons. And that's been the recipe so far. Tiki's got the same deck as last match, except he swapped his Squirrels for Lizards. So we'll see how this plays out. James throwing down that early Lizard Warren. And Tiki gonna respond. So Tiki's he's one farm up on James. But his units are going to be a little bit fewer and farther behind. It looks like James is coming home and farming up now. Maybe saw Tiki's response and decided didn't have the window he wanted. Though he is thinking about coming in still. The farm timing been? Yeah, Tiki's had a farm advantage for a while, and now they're even. So how long was that? Maybe 40 seconds of a one farm advantage, so 40 food for Tiki. And he's just making sure that James kept these units up. If James had sold those, Tiki would have pushed in and punished him. But for now, both players just sitting pretty even in unit counts, both of them going up to 12 tier 1. James with a Squizzard comp and Tiki with all lizards. Tiki's hiding his Skunks. While James takes an expansion. So let's see. Oops. I'm gonna follow James here. See what he sees. Oops. That's wrong commander. So he hasn't even been over there. He's coming back home. He knows something's up. And he's just going to respond to it with some more squirrels. Maybe go back and see if he can find it. I think this time he's going to find it. Nope. There he goes. So now he knows what's up. So James is just going to sit here with this economy lead. He's got, well... They were about even in tier 1. Now he's building his own Skunks. So Tiki might have a small attack window here with his Skunks out. James' Skunks building. Tiki does get this mill coming up, so he can expand when he gets back. But it looks like he is going to move in now. See what he can get done with his lizards. Skunk Gas doing so much work here in the back line while the lizards take down this mill. Oh, not quite. James Skunks come out just in time and saves this mill. So in the end, by focusing that mill, it was a risky play from Tiki. He keeps a bit of an army lead. The trade was more or less even, but no lasting damage done from that attack from Tiki. And back at home, he's had to sell down on some of his lizards to farm up. So James has got to be happy with that engagement. Enjoyed a bit of an economy lead. Looks like he had 2 farms up on Tiki for almost a minute. And let's see what they're doing now. James looks like he's waiting for the boar. Okay. So the boar warren has come down. And Tiki, when is he gonna see it? He's throwing down a bunch of tier 2. Now he's coming in for the scout. Doesn't see the boar warren. He might suspect it because he didn't see a lot of farms there. But James could be doing just what Tiki's doing. Tech up into a bunch of tier 2 instead of going for the boar. So we'll see. But the boar is now building. So it's probably too late for Tiki to get any kind of punishment done while the boar is building. Unless he can move in like immediately right now. But I don't know that he even has the army advantage to do that. Yeah, so Tiki's in a tight spot. Not getting that mill earlier, I think. And then not getting really anything. I think that's gonna hurt him in the end. But he's building up some lizards, so here comes the boar. So we'll see what the lizards, the snakes, the skunks are gonna get done against this boar. Trying to get some early gas, some early poison stacks going on this boar. No poison on the boar. All of those lizards are gone. Now there's some poison on the boar. But there's, I think, enough pigeon healing here to keep it alive. Well, for now, lizard's coming around. Yeah. There goes down the boar. Nice fight there from Tiki. Early in the fight, looked like it was a strong advantage. Whoops. For James, but in the end, it's trading pretty evenly, which works well for Tiki. Well played, Tiki. And Tiki kept his skunks to keep all of them alive through that. Kept some of them alive anyway. James has got these lizards. Thought about running around behind, but there wasn't anything of value for them to snipe. So yeah, really interesting phase of the game we're moving into here. James sold out of the boar, and so both players running a little bit lower in economy, trying to decide what to sell, what to keep. Right now, James got a lot of tier 1, and Tiki's got more of a tech advantage, more tier 2. But these lizards are going to do a pretty good job against that tier 2. Tiki keeping up a couple of skunks and one snake for now. One skunk goes down. And James moving in. The skunk gas gonna do work on these pigs. Gets one pig. Keeps his skunks up. This fight I do think is really going James' way. Yeah, they had almost identical army values going into the fight, but James keeps the army lead coming out of it and has better economy behind it. So I think that is going to start to snowball for James. Let's see what Tiki can build up in response. Supply blocked a bit, can't get his snakes out. James smells blood in the water. What's our army at? Yeah, James has a huge army lead right now. So James ready to push in right here, right now. Cleans up those lizards. I think he'll be able to chase down these skunks with his lizards, and that should be it. Just cleaning up the pigs to start. Then he's gonna retreat back home while Tiki starves. And Tiki taps out. Good game from James. All right, so let me see which match I've got next on schedule. So James, Tiki. Next we've got Deltius attacking James. Yeah, 3-1 James final score. Close my overlay. Did I switch it off? Deltius attacking James. And is there any... Look at the matchups page. Deltius gets a 1-0 lead, and James has a weight of 1638. All right. So we've got Deltius as Hopper and James as the KSR. So James, going back to the toads this game. We got squirrels, toads, falcons, chameleons, boar, and balloon. I want to say this is the first deck James brought against Tiki, which he lost with and then switched into a new deck that was undefeated. Deltius bringing squirrels, lizards, falcons, skunk, snake, and fox. And this is gonna be fun for me. I don't think I've ever seen Deltius play. I've seen him cast a lot, and I know he's been around in a bunch of tournaments for a while, but this might be my first time watching a Deltius game, so we'll see how it goes. Starting out with some lizards. Wow, James going straight into chameleons. Let's see if Deltius is able to run in with a couple lizards and punish this. I think he'd only need... Yeah, if he can keep these lizards in the range of just a pig or two, he might be able to snipe these. And he is. He's going to come in with 2 lizards. Coming the long way around. I think he would have wanted to get that squirrel warren first. But he is coming straight to that chameleon warren. He sees the squirrels, decides to pull back. So James got the early tech lead for now. Keeps that chameleon warren up. And Deltius is going for skunks. James got 1 chameleon out. Thought about some little shenanigans. Thought about parking it there in the middle of the map. But Deltius, really smart play here. Coming around back. Gets a pig and a warren. Oh, stayed just a little bit too long. Deltius, if he could have pulled back just a second earlier, would have come out much better from that. But that Toad connection got all the lizards, and so now he's pretty low in army, and is gonna have a moment of worry here if James moves in. But James is pulling back. I think James probably could have got Toad connections that did that damaged a few things simultaneously. I thought it would have been cool to see James come in there, get some Toad connections on the attack. But he decides to play it safe. And Deltius snagging this little ninja mill on the west side of the map. And he's trying to run around some more with these lizards, getting a lot of lizard work done this match is Deltius. Gets the Chameleon Warren, once again loses all of his lizards on it, but he does have a lot of squirrels back home. So we'll see. James is going to move in this time. But when he loses a chameleon, that chameleon's gone for good. So a nice engage there from Deltius. I think he lost 2 lizard warrens. But overall, I like the trade from Deltius. And he's maybe just trying to keep James on his toes, make him think he's got lizards, getting a good scout in. James putting the lizard warren back in the same spot. And does James know? Yeah, James does not know about this little ninja mill. I mean, he might assume Deltius had a ways to go wherever he went. James might suspect that. But a nice timing here from Deltius pushing in. Stops James from getting that balloon up. And he did, I missed it, but he did kill that second chameleon. Of course, James is going to have some new chameleons out soon. But Skunk's doing great work here for Deltius in the early game. And look at that save. Saves the Skunk on 4 HP. And here's James now scouting that mill, so he sees what kind of economy Deltius has. And this is looking like a rough spot for James to come back from. Deltius got a bit of an army lead, bit of an economy lead. James moving in now, but I don't think he's got enough to really push anything in here. And yeah, sees the writing on the wall, taps out. And with a 1-0 handicap, that puts Deltius up 2-0 now. So this is match point for Deltius. Oh, I'm in the wrong game. I need to... I saw the 2-0 and I moved into game 3. Spoilers, I know. Sorry, guys. We are in game 2. Because of the handicap. I even said it, but wasn't thinking with my brain. Alright, so we come in here to our second game with Deltius up 2-0. James bringing his same deck. And Deltius, is anything different? I don't remember if Deltius brought the snakes last game. But similar decks regardless for both players. And James once again throwing down this early Warren. This time it's squirrels. Well, he only had squirrels last game. I was thinking Deltius brought the early lizards last game. So we'll see what James does with these early squirrels. Deltius does get down his own squirrel Warren. And this pig is going to be up to defend itself long before any squirrels can get over. So we'll see. James just sticking with the single Warren. Pulling a squirrel out a little bit. Maybe just playing some mind games. The mind games do get him a little bit of an edge, I think, in the farm timing. Deltius gonna get his farms out. Just, well, his last farm a little bit later, but his first farms are out a little bit earlier. So, overall, bit of a wash. If anything, Deltius comes out with a little bit more food. And James taking this early expansion. And one, oh, I missed this. Deltius once again going for the ninja expand. So we'll see. And he's got a couple of farms down on it already too. So James should know something's up. But he doesn't know what it is. So he's coming in, and there's a bit of a choke here, so he has a hard time getting behind, but he does get back. Gets a bit of a scout there. So we'll see if James goes hunting around for this. See if there's a ninja base somewhere. But for now, both players just building up their tier 1 armies. Oh, James teching into chameleons. And Deltius going up for some skunks. Deltius leaving the squirrels at home and gonna run around with these lizards. Nice little timing here from Deltius. Snipes 2 pigs. James is gonna try and cut him off. Doesn't quite. Almost got a lizard there on the retreat. James got this balloon up though. And so Deltius is gonna have a hard time engaging directly through this balloon. James also has got about 6 toads. And here we go. This is what I want to see. Get these toads right in. Look at all that Warren damage. Plus he cleans up the units. Still has a bunch of squirrels behind it. Nice little attack here from James. And yeah, good trade overall from James. He's got a strong army value lead, but part of that's because of this balloon. But he's still, I don't think I've seen him. Yeah, he doesn't know about this ninja expansion. But he knows something's up. And Deltius just making sure he knows what's up behind here, getting a good deep scout. And here comes James, checking all the mills. Now he knows. Deltius bringing his army over here. Yeah, James coming out for the attack. But Deltius is there to defend in time. Thulzi, looked like James was thinking about moving his chameleons around. But Deltius has enough to ward that off for now. So James just wants to hunker down here behind this balloon. So nice positioning here from Deltius. If he can hold this position, he may not mind James sniping Warrens back at his other mill. Oh, can't see the HP on that chameleon, but a nice save from James on that last chameleon. But a relatively even trade overall in that fight. James did get in here and get one of Deltius' Warrens with the chameleons. And he's going to come back for, well, thinking about coming back for more. So right now, Deltius is in a bit of an awkward position. He's got a lot of mills really close to each other over here. This would be a great spot to hold. But all his Warrens are back by his first mill. So it's especially against chameleons that can just sneak in. It's gonna be a bit risky. But, oh, Deltius clean up these pigs right before they fallow. Nice play there from Deltius. Gotta keep your opponent on his toes when you've got lizards. But James looks like he's gonna answer in kind. Just sending a lone falcon as he builds into a few more to wipe out these warrens. Deltius says, alright, I'll take that cue. But this fight does not go Deltius' way. Not able to get much done because James only had one falcon out of position. And now everything, this one squirrel is the only thing that can hit the falcons. Guess a couple more squirrels come in to reinforce. But a great exchange there from James. Skunk gets cut out. So this is the awkward part of having an expansion that's so far away from your main base. As these reinforcing units come across, they keep getting cut out here. James still in that balloon. I think if he's going to keep the balloon, he'd want to put it closer here so he keeps sniping these reinforcing units. But he's got enough of an army, he can just do that with his army. So a bit of a tight spot here from Deltius. Trying to catch back up, but a bit behind in army. He had a bit of an economy lead for a while, but with farms starting to fallow on the expansion, James now taking a bit of an economy lead. And James just moving in. And I think this is going to be too much for Deltius to hold off. He's got the squirrel coming in from behind. Not squirrel, skunk coming in from behind. But James just focusing these warrens down. The chameleon does go down, but I think it's just too much. And Deltius taps out. So, now we can move into game 3. Match point number 2 for Deltius. And Deltius shaking things up this game, bringing pigeons. So Deltius got squirrels, pigeons, skunk, chameleon, snake, and fox. And James sticking with the squirrel, toad, falcon, chameleon, boar, and balloon. On the map, I mean, who knows what'll happen with Deltius and his ninja mill tendencies, but the map looks relatively even. There's a lot of mills on the map. Put it that way, and both players have options for what they want to do. This mill over in the far west corner has ninja base potential. If anybody scouts it. Neither player going for any kind of early warrens this game. And neither player bringing lizards, really, so. This game, Deltius just going straight up, taking that natural expansion. His army will build up a little bit slower than James is, but James responds by selling his squirrels for camps and then opening up in his expansion. So James really likes going into chameleons early. Deltius says, okay, I can do that too. And it's probably a misclick. I was going to say I'd be surprised to see pigeons with no other tier 1. But Deltius getting skunks and squirrels. And James got one farm up on Deltius for now, but I'm sure Deltius will scout that. and respond. And there we go. So both players just feeling each other out, scouting things, navigating this early game. Now we're seeing some pigeons from Deltius. For real this time. While James getting this balloon up. And the toads. So we'll see. James probably suspects that Deltius is bringing the lizards again, because he's brought them so often. But we'll see what he gets done with these toads against... I mean, it's a difficult composition for toads to get value, in my opinion, going against skunks and squirrels. But James starting to move into the falcons now. And what we saw against Tiki, James does a really good job getting his falcons early and building those falcons up, getting good value from the falcons. So if James gets the falcon advantage, it might be tough for Deltius. Although Deltius has a better response to falcons than Tiki did. Deltius has the fox. James trying to sneak those chameleons in on this Warren, but it was just right in front of Deltius' army. Oh, James thought about the boar. Instead, there it is. There's the boar. Decided to get a few more falcons first. So let's see. Deltius hasn't gotten a deep scout here in a little bit. Doesn't know what's back there. He is moving up to a third base. And getting some snakes. So those should do well against the boar. We'll see if he gets in here. Does not get in to scout the boar. Oh, but I missed it. He's got his own fox. And James doesn't know about the fox either. So at this point in the game, you probably want to build counters to tier 3 anyway. Yeah, that's one of the unique things about this tournament. You know what tier 3 your opponent has. So Deltius though is trying to get in and get a scout from the back side here. And now he sees the boar warren, and the boar is almost out. It'll be out. It'll be out for a while. It'll be out a little bit before the fox, but probably not long enough for James to move in. I think the fox will be out by the time James can attack. So here's the boar, and James is moving in. And here comes the fox. So the fox is going to be a little late to the party, but should still be able to get some value. So James really cleaning up the front lines here. Deltius trying to keep the fox back, and now's the time for the fox can shine. Just sniping units on the retreat. And Deltius getting a bit of an economy lead too. So James took the better trade there in the fight, but Deltius has got a little bit more economy. And now he wants to come in here and poke. But not enough an advantage, I think, for Deltius to get much done on that backside with the fox. James, oh, did James Commander go down? James Commander goes down, and Deltius is going to get great value on this retreat. Sniping those falcons. But he brings all his units in. Deltius, the units that get trapped in this choke are just getting destroyed. So I think Deltius needs the rest of his units outside that little path, and then run the Fox down it maybe, I don't know. But the Falcons are all down. So this is a good point for James. If he can get, or for Deltius, gets the boar. Gets that boar down. And now James has got to decide what he wants to do. Sells the boar. So this is a great time to have the Fox. And we'll see what Deltius is able to do here with this Fox. Just wants to come in here and poke. James has so much tier 1. So many toads. And cleans up all of those squirrels that Deltius brought. So a little bit dicey, a little scary time here for Deltius. But if he can keep this Fox up, it's gonna just keep getting value. Although the rest of his army is not faring quite as well. Does get those Falcons down. But he's leaving this squirrel is gonna poke down this Warren here. Hero squirrel from James. Oh, James pulls it back. Oh. Another sniper shot from Kasha. So how are we doing overall? Yeah, Deltius lead really starting to snowball now as that Fox just gets more and more value. And Deltius also having a bit of an army lead in his James. Yeah, James is running low in economy. But trying to attack while the Fox is away. Great toad connections, cleaning up all of those squirrels. And now he's going to get the Fox. Fox goes down. Really nice play there from James. And we'll see Deltius, yeah, doesn't have the economy to support another Fox. Deltius starving now. Oh, that was really well played from James. Deltius was building a lead, kept snowballing it, but James had just enough to take down that Fox. That was a fun game. What a match. And so now it's match point for both players. And we'll see what we get here. This is probably going to be the last game I can cast. Not getting as far in these matches as I'd hoped today. But a man's got to sleep sometime, right? So this game, Deltius bringing the toads. What did he swap out for toads? Did Deltius have chameleons last game? I think he had chameleons. Swapping them for toads. While James keeping the same deck, if I'm not mistaken. No, pigeons. Pigeons is what Deltius had that he's swapping for toads. So Deltius throwing down this early squirrel warren. James probably suspects that they are lizards and puts down a warren on defense. Nice little fake out there from Deltius. Sells the warren and just farms up. James responds. So good scouting by both players. Deltius gets a short economy advantage from those mind games. But James is going to does have his squirrels out sooner. Pretty fair map, I would say, looking at this. Both players have a nice natural expansion, and then a very awkward far expansion. And that's it. Then we just got this big old wasteland in the middle. So, be interesting to see how these guys play this. I'm trying to look here at the mini-map. Yeah, it looks like there's really only one way into James' base. Whereas coming into Deltia's base, there's a couple little paths one could take. But I don't think there's no way to get through this middle. So essentially, to get into Deltia's side of the map, you've got to come up somewhere north of this, somewhere northeast of this ramp. And James, once again, getting those early chameleons. And Deltius getting the toads building. I love it. So we'll see how both players navigate this early game. And see what decisions they make. If they decide to just go in on 2 bases, or decide to go up to a 3rd base. Deltius going all farms here. Fully saturating that 2nd mill. Looks like James is going to scout this pretty early. And James probably not quite in a position to move in. Army value. He does have an army lead, but he decides instead to farm up himself. And here come the skunks from Deltius. So far, this army composition has gone James's way, right? James building up the chameleons early and backing it up with squirrels and toads. Deltius bringing the skunks with, I guess normally he's at Squizzard. But James, behind this, throwing down the boar with more chameleons. And Deltius, this time Deltius is getting the falcons up first. So James in the past has always been the first one up in the falcons. And he is adding some falcons now. But Deltius is going to have the falcon advantage early. And Deltius, if he hadn't seen the boar before, sees it now. I saw James scouted this mill. I was wondering if he had found another way in, but I didn't think there was one on the mini-map. But anyway. James taking that 3rd mill first. Looks like Deltius is going to respond, though, with his 3rd mill. And Deltius does have some snakes coming. I was about to say I'm surprised he hasn't gone for any snakes. But the snakes are here, and the boar is out. So we'll see if James just wants to use the boar to ward off Deltius. And how did I miss? Well, Deltius has had Kasha building this whole time. And I didn't even know. But James hits a nice cam trap, almost snipes Kasha right off the bat. That would have felt bad. Deltius just manages to save that Kasha. And now we get the engagement. Chameleons go down pretty fast. And James is going to retreat here. Really good engagement from Deltius. But he's going to have a hard time pushing through these balloons for now. Get some snake tags on it. Down goes the boar. But it takes, I think, most of Deltius tier 1. So looking at this army, yeah, James has got a bit of an army lead right now. But Deltius has the fox. Getting those toads to clear out ground units. We'll see what Deltius sells off. Yeah, Deltius wants to get this balloon down so that he can roam free with his fox. sold out of the snakes. And so James did commit to another boar. But Deltius looks like he's ready to come in. Getting great code connections on those chameleons. Here comes some more chameleons. But Deltius has got the falcon numbers. And this is going to be a rough spot for James. Deltius sniping some pigs. Getting some shots off on the boar. Boar's going to go down. And it looks like Deltius is in the driver's seat here. Some good exchanges. Getting great value from this fox. Now he's just going to be able to snipe these pigs. And I think this is going to be it from James. James taps out. So 3-2 to Deltius. What a match. Good stuff. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. Sorry I didn't have time to get any more matches in, but that will be it for me tonight.